You're struggling with your impact, losing consistency? Not anymore. Let's do this. It's time for Proving It, presented by Titleist. And what we want to do is solve our hooks and our slices. A very simple thing. You go out onto the par 3 eighth. You're standing there, you got a little pressure, and in your mind you're thinking, I've got to hook this. There's an ocean on the right-hand side, the world over to the left. All I got to do is get it over to the left-hand side. And what do? You hit it into the water on the right. Now, why does that happen? Well, because we get that club face in an open position and that ball deflects off to the right and then it spins to the right. How do we solve the problem? All it takes is a racket. Just let's have a little bit of a racket. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Getting rid of hooks and fades, getting rid of hooks and slices is as simple as understanding how to spin the shaft or not spin the shaft. And as we start understanding about spinning shafts, now you'll start to understand what's happening with the face. So for instance, if I take this racket and I now spin it this way, the face is pointing down to the ground. So if I'm going to hit it left-handed backhand, if I spin this like this, it's now pointing down to the ground. So if the ball were to hit it, it would deflect that way. Well, it's the same thing in golf. It's just spun on a 90-degree axis. So when I get over to here now and I take this and I spin this down, this ball is going to jump off to the left-hand side. So what I want to do is I want to feel like the label of my glove where it says Titleist 1 right there, I want to turn that down, and that's going to shut that club face, and it's going to make it go to the left. So let's get my club. Let's get a little bit of rehearsal where I'm feeling those knuckles going down to the ground. I feel the back of my left hand pointing to the ground as I go through there. Now, let's put that into motion. Let's see if we get a little hook or a little draw. Remember, we got to get rid of that slice. Here we go. And there it is. Starts out to the right. Greg, we know we're going to want to see this one again because this one had a really good turn to it. And again, all we're doing is we're just getting rid of that slice. It can hook as much as we want, but it can't go 1 inch to the right. Greg, let's take a peek at what that looks like. You see that start out to the right and then spin over to the left-hand side. That's just by taking the label of my glove, that Titleist 1, and pointing it down. Now, what I want to do is I want to learn how to hit a fade. So let me get my racket again. When I come through here this time, I'm going to make sure that I let this the label of my glove point up to the top. I'm going to spin this shaft in a clockwise direction, which is going to get the club face to open up. And as it gets the club face to open up, now it can't go to the left. So now I'm going to aim over to the right-hand side. I'm going to rehearse spinning this shaft open. It'll almost feel like you're doing this little cupping action with your lead hand. And now we're going to hit another slice. Now this won't go as far as the hook. That one there flew 177, went out to 185, and my ball speed was 117. This one is going to be a slower ball speed, and the reason why is that I'm spinning the club face, the toe, away from the direction that the club is moving in, which is going to, in effect, take club head speed out. And when I'm taking the club head speed out, I'm going to lose some distance, but it isn't going to go to the left. Here we go. So I spun that open. Now you see that thing peeling back to the right-hand side there. It's a lot shorter than what I had before. In fact, the ball speed was 109 miles an hour. Greg, can you show me that one? And you see that starts out to the left-hand side and it spins back to the target. Yeah, remember I said to you before I had 117 RPMs of ball speed, miles per hour, 117 miles an hour of ball speed. Here I am, 109 in ball speed. That only went 155 yards there, where the other one went about 185 yards. So as you start to understand how to spin this shaft, you can control the shape of the shot that you desire. And what I can tell you is it's very beneficial when you're trying to hit shots out of trees to be able to move it left and right. But where it really has impact is when you're standing on that tee and you have I can't go in a certain direction. No matter what happens here, it can't go to the right. I've got a parking lot off of my right-hand side. It can go anywhere to the left. It just can't go to the right. Now I got to make sure I spin that shaft and make sure that that club face closes. So when I come through, I'm taking the label of my Titleist glove here. I'm going to point that down to the ground. That's going to shut that club face, and we're going to hit a little bit of a draw. Let's see if we can do it again. And there it is. That's coming out low. It's coming out hot. That thing is going to go far. Yeah, there, look at that ball speed, 121 miles an hour ball speed, nudging right up to that 200. So when you go out to go play, you need to move that ball one direction or another. I want you to think about spinning the shaft. Make sure that if you're going to hook it, the shaft has to spin the club face closed. And if we're going to fade it for the right-handed player, we're going to spin that shaft in an open position. When you start to do that, you'll start to have control over that golf ball. And that's Proving It, presented by Titleist. It's time for a grip tip presented by Golf Pride. You hear it all the time. Oh, he's got an overlap grip or a double overlap grip or an interlock grip. What does it all mean? Well, you know what? I want to make it a little bit simpler for you. Very easy for you to see. It's a 10-finger grip. It's a 9-finger grip. It's an 8-finger grip, or it's an interlocking grip. Now, let's just talk about this for a second. What is a 10-finger grip? Well, I got 10 fingers on 2 hands, so that means all fingers are touching the club. What I like to do with a 10-finger grip, you could call it a baseball grip, but a baseball grip, you tend to wrap your thumbs around like that. We always want to feel those thumbs going down the shaft in that fashion there. Now, that's a 10-finger grip. A 9-finger grip is you're just going to take the pinky finger, what we call an overlap grip, the pinky finger of the trail hand, the one that doesn't have a glove on it, and you're going to put it on top of the index finger of the lead hand. That's going to be a 9-finger grip. When we go 8-finger grip, now we're going to do a double overlap. We're going to put both the pinky finger and that finger that's next to it on top of the lead hand. Now, who uses this? Well, Jim Furyk. This is how Jim holds the golf club. So there's your 9, your 10, your 8-finger grips. Now, the other grip, and you've seen this through time, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Jordan Spieth, many players have an interlocking grip. Here's what I want to warn you about the interlocking grip. When we interlock our hands so that we slam them together like this, what you end up getting is you don't get any real fingers on the club. One hand you do, the other one is palm. It's a finger palm grip. So for instance, if I do an interlocking grip, which I would call weak, there's a lot of palm holding it with my left hand, and then I get some fingers with my right hand and it looks like that. And when I set up in that position there, that trail arm is very, very high. This will lead to a slice or a dramatic fade. If I go the other way, where I start to get more of the palm in my trail hand and I get a little fingers in the right, now this one here and this interlock, well, this is going to start, when I jam them together, this is going to create a massive hook. What you want to be careful of with the interlock is making sure that you don't jam them together. You want to just separate them a little bit so you get fingers in both. And if I jam them together, what you're going to notice is that the palm of my lead hand is going to be facing up more in the air, and the palm of my trail hand will be facing more up into the air. They don't face one another. What we want is we want the palms to face one another. So if you're going to interlock, make sure that your palms are facing one another. And when you get to where they're facing one another, now all of a sudden this can work very, very nicely. You'll tend to be a little bit stronger with that right hand, but it's a very effective grip, and you'll be able to strike the ball nice and solidly. There's a lot of people that feel like they have this better connection hand to hand in that grip. The most popular grip, what we call the overlap grip, the Varden grip, is the 9-finger grip, and this is the one that I prefer for me, but I teach all of it because there are some people that need a little bit more right hand help, or a little bit more lead hand help, or a little bit less trail hand, right hand help. And so what you'll do is you'll double overlap this. Lee Elder did this as well. There are a lot of players that have used this grip. As I said, Furyk does. And what that does is it forces a little bit more power and pressure out of the lead hand, and it tends to make the trail hand come in underneath. It's a nice way to quiet the club face down. If you're hitting a lot of hooks, I would recommend going to that style grip. I promise you that will help you very, very much. And what I can tell you is don't be afraid to try these. Don't be afraid to give these a little bit of a look. What you want to pay attention to, no matter what you're doing, is making sure that the palms of the hands face one another. And when they face one another, now all of a sudden the wrists are going to hinge correctly, and you'll be able to strike this ball nice and solidly. And when you get that, what you're going to get is you're going to get a shot that's not going to have a tremendous amount of rotation to it. You're going to hit some very, very straight shots. Come on up here. This is my single overlap, the Varden grip. The 9-finger grip, you can see that 172 yards. My target's out there at 175. But look at my side spin, just 125 RPMs of right spin. What does that mean? It's a fairly straight shot. Greg, can you show that up again? And what you'll see is this golf ball here is going to take off, and it'll have a nice little movement, just a little feather to the right-hand side. How you put your hands on the golf club is so important. And you need to understand the variances, the opportunities that you have when you put your hands on, whether it's a 9, 10, 8-finger grip, or even the interlocking grip. You just have to pay attention to what you're doing and make sure you've got a reason, a purpose behind what you're doing with your hands on the club so that you can get the shot shape that you want, or you can avoid that shot shape that you don't want to see. That's what that's all about. And that's a grip tip presented by Golf Pride. So many times you hear this word stuck. What does it mean? Well, it means you can't go anywhere. You're in this position where there's no way for you to improve. It's time for a transformational tip presented by Morgan Franklin. You hear this all the time. Oh, I just got stuck. I got trapped. It's back there. I can't do anything about it. How does that happen? Well, arms start to get deep on you, and you can't get them out in front of you. One very simple drill that's going to transform your impact position, make solid contact every single time, is a simple drill that I've been doing for I don't know how many years, 30, let's just say. Grip this golf club about 2/3 of the way down. And then when you swing the club, I'm going to make sure that I don't hit myself in the side or the rib cage with the handle. Now, how does that get me out of being stuck? Well, what happens when you get stuck is the arms have depth to it. You start to slide these hips this way. Arms are now dropping down like this, and now you've got to get the club head back to the target. And the lead arm, the lead side, doesn't rotate anywhere, and we start throwing the head of the golf club. Well, you can see when I throw the head of the golf club from here, the grip end of the club starts to move backwards like this. Well, when I grip this club now down here, and I start to make a swing, if I do that, I'm going to impale myself right in the rib cage with the handle of the club. What I want to be able to do is reroute the hands and arms over the top and then swing over here to the left-hand side. You got to remember that the golf swing is a rotational move. If I take my hands right here in a camera 1, I take my hands like this and I rotate my body, my hands go around to the left. They don't go down the line. I don't go forward and down the line like that. That's not what happens. What happens is that the body is rotating the arms and hands around to the left. And so when I take this club and I grip it here, now my arms and hands rotate around. Now I can just fold it up like that, and the handle will never strike the body. And you can see the freedom that you have. And then what you get is you get, in this down the line view, the open box. From the shoulder to the elbow, elbow to hand, hand to club head. It's an open box up there. So when I come through and I swing, now you can see I have this open box that Hogan talks about. Now, this drill, I promise you, takes a little bit of time. Do this for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times during the course of a week. And then maybe 3 weeks later, you'll start to see this impact position really improve. Because what will happen now is that the club will move back, your arms will now move out in front like this, and then down and over. You can see how I'm swinging through there. And when I get to that point, now I'm going to be able to have the handle have a little bit of lean to it. When it comes into the strike, it'll be ahead of that club head. The arms and hands will be moving around to the left-hand side. So I'll be moving the low point forward. Get a little rehearsal with that. There's a good strike just like that, and you can see how that ball all of a sudden jumps out. Now, let's go up here to the monitor and just show you all the numbers. I got that apex to about 90 feet. Look at my launch angle, 17 degrees. I got plenty of ball speed, 118, and plenty of distance, 176. Many people feel that when they do that drill that they're going to hit a slice or maybe hit a shot that can't let the ball turn over to the draw side. Well, you can see there I got 230 RPMs of left spin, so there was no problem getting that to the left. Try that again. And what I love about this drill, why I think this is such an important drill for you to do, is because it's something you can do on the golf course. So when you're out there, we talk about being able to bring success from the range to the golf course. It's one of the most important things for me with my students, getting success on the range to the golf course. Well, this is a drill that you can do when you're out there, give you some feedback so that when you get into the playing atmosphere, you've got something that you can rely on, give you a little bit of a feel. There's another good strike just like that. And this one there has the littlest amount of spin over to the right-hand side. A wonderful drill that I'm telling you is going to transform your strike and allow you to be consistent with your distances and predictable with the club that you choose. So when you're 155, you know what? Grab that 7-iron. I'm going to hit that solidly. I know I'm going to hit it solidly. I'm going to get my 155 out of the club. There's nothing worse than being in the fairway after a great drive and all of a sudden you're hitting it thin or fat or inconsistently and it's missing the green. You get demoralized and you start to shoot those high scores. This drill, I promise you, is going to help you improve your game. That's our transformational tip presented by Morgan Franklin.